Well, okay, we're live. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. The only time I don't like Fridays are on spring break because it means that the spring break is coming to a close. But we still have a weekend, which is fine. Okay, we're live. Oh, I can hear my own body. Happy Friday, everyone. The only time I had my stream page on, and so I was getting hearing my own voice, which was really trippy. Oh man, these are so running. Yeah, sorry if there's some noise in the background. My wife decided to run the laundry right when I started this. Oh well, it needs to get done. But I'm running really, really late not late, but I'm just running short this morning. Hold on, I need to share out. Share out to the socials. I haven't done that yet. Normally, I would have done this. Would have done this already, but I've just been really out of it today. I was up late last night trying to solve a problem, a little tiny insignificant problem that was nevertheless bothering the heck out of me. Hold on, I want to post this to my classrooms. Okay, that in there. Yeah, I'm really out of it. So what had happened was, sorry, hold on. I have to get all my windows where I want them. Okay, I'm happy with that. What had happened was I was trying to stream last night. I wanted to stream playing some Rust with some friends of mine, and when you're playing online, you typically talking to people on Discord. Well, the thing about streaming, since it's so public, I don't want in my Discord chat to show up on my stream. Not that I don't like these guys, but some of the things that they say and talk about, I don't want on my public stream, which is understandable. I even told them that, and they were like, "Yeah, it's probably a good idea not to have that." So I was thinking, well, it should be pretty simple, just to be like, all right, take the Discord audio, that's the talking program, and only make it so I listen to it, and then okay, well, I can take the game sounds and then send it through my OBS program to do the streaming on Twitch. Oh no, it's not that simple. You would think that in 2021, when streaming is how long have people been streaming video games? Like 8 years now, almost 6 to 8 years. You would think that this would have been solved by now. People know Microsoft. You know about Discord, right? You're trying to buy Discord, right? You know it exists. You are in the business of producing video games. You make computers. You understand that people need to be able to separate audio, in Windows, right? Like that should be a basic, simple thing having an audio mixer. You have your Xbox Live program overlay that you want to ship with everything, and you want people using that. Well, fix your freaking audio mixer, right? Go call up Realtek and be like, hey, we need a little more functionality in this thing. Because I spent hours researching, and I mean, if you know how to do this, if this is something where you just do because you've done it, well, great. I'm happy for you. Drop me a comment and tell me how dumb I'm being and how simple this is. I had to do a ton of research. I downloaded this program called Voice Meter, which had great functionality, except it got to the point where you can't control volume. You take your headphones in and out of your laptop, and it basically doesn't work anymore. Hey, Alberto. It can't. It doesn't know how to deal with taking your headphones in and out. It completely messes up. And then there's random audio clicking in bad quality. And I was just like, and that was that's one of the only programs that people use in a streaming space. And I'm like, are you telling me that all these professional streamers who have these setups where they're talking to their Discord buddies and streaming their music and their Spotify and their Stream Beats or whatever, and then they have their game audio, and it all just mixes really well. Are you telling me that they're using this freeware, this donationware, this third-party app, which doesn't seem to have been updated in 5 years? Is everyone really doing that? I mean, not trying to slam the people at Voice Meter, because it's a fascinating program, and I understand you're limited by some of what Microsoft gives you, which isn't a whole lot. But man, is this really in 2021? I mean, call me naive, because I'm just getting into this, for the first time. I used to be a big computer nerd. Built my own computer in 2006, way back in the day. Used to be a big computer geek, and I'd spend hours figuring this stuff out and doing custom Explorer shells, a bunch of weird things to my computer. And then I did other things, and here I am coming back into it, and I'm just like, okay, well, things work a lot smoother now. Well, and for the most part, they do. For video, it's great. And naive me was thinking, well, in OBS, you can put in whatever video feed you want. You can put in whatever window you want and get that video going through. But when it comes to audio, no, you can't separate out. And it would be nice in OBS if you could separate out audio based on, on the same criteria. Like if you have a game window, why can't you capture the game audio? It seems, I'm sure there's a reason why you can't, but it just, to layperson idiot like me, it just seems like that should be something you should be able to do. So, I don't know, man. I've solved the problem since, I don't want to get into too much detail because not really relevant to the stream, but basically a virtual audio line. And I have a couple little tweaks I want to play with it, but I did get it to a point where I can stream the games I want to stream and listen to Discord people without having that mix up. But man, hours of having to figure out what should just be a simple checklist or a switch or a simple Google search. My gosh. That's what's been bothering me. So I stayed up till 1 a.m. No joke. 12:30, 1 a.m. trying to figure this problem out. I was so mad because I'd set aside some time to play Rust on Wipe Day, where I was going to get a chance, play with some people I haven't played with in a while. It's been 2 months since I played this game. I was really looking forward to getting back into it and spending a few hours, stayed up till midnight, all that good stuff. And I'm sorry to my friends who, I had to chicken out early because, I just couldn't get things working right. I was just so angry about it afterwards. All I wanted to do was do a little streaming, play some games, and that set me off for the rest of the night. I'm the kind of person where, yeah, I did end up ending the stream way early without actually playing anything, and I apologize if you came to see the stream for that. I'm going to try it again tonight, I think. Try my luck again tonight. Eggs on mini bagel. Good stuff. Yeah, Alberto, I don't really play Xbox Live, but yeah, it's kind of sad. It if this was 8 years ago, 6 years ago, I'd understand it, because technology is still figuring out. But it's 2021, guys. You want us to buy your products and exist in this ever-connected world and send our content through your servers so that you can monetize that, like you do, which is fine. You got to step up your game. And I'm not talking about just producing, more bells and whistles and, making flashier content, flashier hardware or software. I'm talking about going through your guts and figuring out, okay, what is and what isn't working very well. This is ridiculous. This is good though. My daughter made this mini bagel, pepper jack cheese, and fried egg. Simple. There's just something so wholesome about eggs on toast. I normally would have had my breakfast by now, but like I said, I was just going slow this morning, dragging butt. Plus, we don't have a ton of things to do today, so probably going to end up being kind of a short stream. Hope you guys don't mind that. I don't think we're going to go for a full 2 hours because I've been working a lot this break, but I have been kind of piling up a lot of tasks, and I haven't been getting to all of them. I think I tried being a little too ambitious with some of the things I wanted to do, but hey, I'm still going to try do this spring break. But I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna get as many things done as possible. Oh, I ate that. I totally forgot. She brought me out some jalapeno sauce that would have been great on those eggs, but I forgot that was there. Oops. Oh well. It was still very good. So. Okay. I'm feeling a little better now. Yeah, it was ultimately inconsequential. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal. I could have played anyway. I could have stopped streaming, but it's like I wanted everything to work just right. And then when it didn't, it just set me in a mood. And yeah, I could have handled it a little bit better and, just been like, well, just enjoy your Thursday night anyway. But I wasn't able to do that. And yeah, I end up losing out because, now I'm stressed over this thing for way too much more time than is warranted. And, now, now I'm the loser, but, mm-hmm. It's okay. Um, all right. So what do we have to do today, guys? We have we've pretty much built this thing in terms of in terms of the platform here. Put a little piece of plywood on here just to see what it would feel like as as a desk or a table. Um, let me clear some of this stuff off here. So yeah, I said I was going to try and prime it yesterday, and I got caught up in a bunch of other stuff, and I didn't. So we'll be doing a little priming today, and that's probably going to be it. I'm not going to try and wait. We'll have to wait for it to dry before I can come in and paint it. So hey, sometimes we have little setbacks, but that's not a big deal. And really, in terms of painting and priming, I'm really only going to be doing the outside. I don't think I'm going to bother with the inside because it's not something that I plan on having anyone see on a regular basis. And even if they do, it's like, okay, whatever. It's plywood on the inside. Who cares? This isn't going in my dining room or anything like that. It's going to be out here in the garage and pretty much only seen from the outside. So, yeah, this is going to be a really easy, short day today. And I don't know about you, but I don't mind that. It's a Friday. It's it's a Friday. We can we'll get this done a little bit early, and then we'll call it a day. All right. Okay. So my wife and I, we have kind of this. Get ready for story time with Lauer. You guys ready for this? Okay. So my wife and I, we have this sort of inside joke. Last year, about this time, April, May-ish, I built a shed out in the yard, out in the side yard. Really impressed with this thing. Like I'll have to take you guys out there sometime, but really impressed with this shed. Came together quite nicely. I built pretty much all of it myself. I got a little help with some of the heavier panels, but framed it all up. I took out the old shed, leveled the ground, framed everything up. This thing's beautiful. It's big, ton of storage. When we were going to paint it, when I was going to paint it, I primed it first. I went to go prime it first, and I thought that I was going to have enough primer, and it was becoming very apparent very quickly that I was not going to have enough primer to start painting it. So I send my wife. I send her. She graciously volunteers to send herself down to the local Ace Hardware and pick up some primer. And she's asking me. She looks at me, and she always does this. Are you sure you just want 1 gallon? Because I was like, okay, just get 1 more gallon of paint primer. That's all I should need. Because I was working with a little bit already. I had some, and I was thinking, okay, I was doing the calculations. Okay, yeah, I should have enough to be able to prime the rest of this thing. And she's like, okay, well, I can get 1 gallon. Are you sure you don't need 2? And I was like, no, it should be fine. So she goes down to the hardware store, and I'm working with what I have left. And very quickly, I'm starting to realize that, oh no, 1 more gallon is not going to cover this. And I have my paint sprayer out, and if you've ever used paint sprayer before, they are a pain to clean. You don't want to have to set it all up, clean it and then set it all up again just to paint a little tiny patch that you missed the first time. So you just kind of want to get it all done in one go. And so I'm like, oh no, I'm going to need another gallon of this. And so I call her up, and I was like, hey babe, I'm going to need the extra gallon. And she keeps teasing me about it to this day. She was like, what's her story? She was in line, or like almost like right about to get there to check out. She has this gallon of paint, and then she gets a phone call babe, I need another gallon of paint, of primer. She had to go back and get the whole another gallon of primer, and I think she ended up getting 3 gallons just to be safe. So I had a little extra primer lying around. But yeah, that's the little inside joke about not having enough primer. So I'm pretty sure I have enough primer. This is 3/4 of the way full, half to 3/4. But I'm not painting a shed. I'm painting a workbench. So, shake it up really good though. All right. Okay. If I cared about my floor, I would put down a drop cloth, but I don't. You can probably tell I've got lots of paint on my floor already. This was a side effect of, back in 2012-ish, 2011, 2012, 13, 14. I used to paint canvases and sell them at art and wine festivals, which was a lot of fun. But, for various reasons, I kind of outgrew that, or it outgrew me, or, I wasn't enjoying it as much, and so I kind of stopped. So I do have some original artwork paintings out there, which I still really like. But I would paint sort of like Jackson Pollock style, like do a lot of drip painting and abstract art on the floor on canvases. And so, of course, there was a bunch of, over painting. And so to this day on my garage floor, there's just scribbles and paint splatters all over the place from 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. Shoot, it's been a minute, hasn't it? All right. What I am going to do, though, is figure out how to prop this up. And I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea. I think this is going to be a good idea. I hope it's not going to be a bad idea. Nice thing about having that frame in there is I can do something like this. Set it up and prop it up a little bit, and I don't have to worry about accidentally painting this to the floor. So, yeah, Lauer, you're kind of smart here. Now, I'm still kind of up in the air whether what I want to do with the trim, whether I want to have painted trim or like a natural wood look trim. That's going to depend on how I do the tabletop, which we'll talk about later. I'm not worried about it right now, but I figure if I paint this whole box first, I can put the trim on over. And again, it's not a piece of fine furniture. It's a workbench. I don't have to caulk in gaps or anything. That's really not that necessary. But I love how I would even think to consider if it's necessary not to caulk in gaps on a workbench. That just goes to show you how much I obsess over stupid things. What I am going to do before I prime it, though, is we're just going to take a chisel, and so when we glued this on, you get little dots of glue squeeze out, and you paint over those, and they're, if I try to put a piece of trim over this, it might not sit perfectly flat. So I'm just going to take a chisel or a scraper or whatever. And this is way faster than sanding, way more effective too. I may need to actually even up this a little bit. Work. Okay. Trying to make sure it feels smooth. Again, the last thing I need to be is obsessing over dumb little things, but I'm gonna do it anyway. That side had a little unevenness, but not that big a deal. Not really going to be noticeable. Well, be noticeable to me, but that's how it goes, isn't it? Okay. Let's see. How do we want to pick this? I want to go roller or brush. Let's see what I gloves. Full rollers. These little projects, I just end up using the liners just as is, honestly. And you could put the big metal tray in here, but honestly, I just use these liners, and then I don't bother trying to save these. It's such a pain to clean these out. Like I don't even like doing that. Yeah, that'll work. Got my shirt stuck in here. There we go. Okay. Let's get something to open this can. What happened to all my paint keys? I had a bunch of them, and I know what happened. I buried them in a big mess, and I haven't cleaned it up yet. That's what happened. And move this back. Well, let's stable once upon a time. Good enough, I think. Okay. See how far we get with that. I wonder if I could try not to get paint all over myself. Yeah, let's play a game. How much paint is Lauer going to get on himself? I don't know what primer is for. It's basically goes on and just kind of evens everything out. Gives you a nice fresh canvas to put like your real paint colors on. Well, I actually like, I don't, painting a project is usually not my favorite. I like, though, the look of after it's been painted, or really after you get that first coat of primer on. I don't like putting the primer on. It's a real pain. But once it's on and everything's all evened out and you're not looking at glue lines and, you know, factory marks and pencil marks and things like that, and that project is starting to come together, it looks pretty good. That's the fun part, is when it's done. More there. Okay. Around the front here. That's wobbly. Probably because it's heavier in the back. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. Easy. So yeah, I kind of wanted to do that last night, but other things got in the way. I got in the way of myself, really. That's kind of how it went. And I feel a little bad about it, I guess, but oh well. Can't feel too bad about it. Just gotta move forward. Gotta move on. Can't feel too bad about wasting time because then you're just wasting time feeling bad, right? Is that how it goes? Okay. I'll clean that later. Coffee break. How we all doing today? How's the stream doing? Yeah. Folks checked out. That's okay. All right. So this is kind of where we're at. We've got this painted desk. I'm not going to pick it up and get it all over my shirt. Funny story about this shirt. Story time with Lauer. So I got this shirt the last time or the second last time we went to Disneyland. So back in, I want to say it's either 2000 or 2016 or 17. I conquered a small world. It's a small world. Like 2016 or 2017, I volunteered to go chaperone the school Disneyland trip, the seniors Disneyland trip, which I had done once before, like in 2013, and that was a lot of fun. So I got the opportunity to chaperone again, and so we're on the bus ride down, and right as we get to the park, it's like 4:30 in the afternoon. It's one of those overnight things. Right when we get to the park, we've been on the bus for 6 hours. Right when we get to the park, I start coming down with food poisoning. Legit, straight up. And it was that building. You know how it is. It's building up over time. And at 4:30, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I don't feel super great, So I was like, well, I tried to go eat and make myself feel a little better. And it's kind of like, I still don't feel super great. And I'm hanging out with one of the other chaperones who was a paraeducator, and uh, Nick, and we're hanging out with. I was hanging out with him and a few other students, and we were, just kind of tooling around the park and everything. Um, and I'm just progressively feeling worse and worse, like just not feeling good. And then the bathroom trips happen, and then it's like, oh man, I've got food poisoning. I don't feel good. And so, like, it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or something, and the only ride that I could tolerate going on was Small World. The only ride I could tolerate going on. I'm sitting there, my stomach is starting to turn upside down, and I'm just like, I want to go on. I don't want to go to Disneyland and not go on any rides. And so we got in line for Small World. We went on Small World. I'm just like, man, this is really cool. They did a really good job of Small World. I feel terrible. I got to sat and watched the Electric Light Parade, which I hadn't seen in years, decades even. I really wanted to see that again, but and I trooped through it. I was not feeling good at all, but I watched it, and then when it came time that they did the overnight lockdown in California Adventure, and so us and all the chaperones, all the high school students that were chaperoning, we meet up and we start heading over to California Adventure. And first thing I did was I went straight to the sick bay right by the front. And I was just like, I've got something. I'm not feeling good. Can I just go lay down? And thankfully, it was early enough in the night there. All the beds were pretty much open because a bunch of high school kids doing dumb things. That's going to fill it pretty quickly. But I got in there. I was able to lay down and sleep for maybe an hour and a half or something. I was not feeling good at all. It was just straight up food poisoning. And then of course, got to get everything ready for the bus ride back. Not feeling well for that. And when we were about 30 minutes from coming back to the school, about 30 minutes back to the school, I start feeling a little better. So the whole Disneyland trip, the only ride that I got to go on was Small World. And so like a year or two later, my in-laws, they take all of us and the grandkids down to Disneyland to, do a big thing for around Thanksgiving. And we took the kids on the Small World ride, and they loved it. And one of the things we were going through the gift shop at the end, I saw this shirt, I survived a Small World. My wife was like, you've got to get that because, I conquered a Small World. That's basically what I did was I came back and I conquered that ride. So, yeah, that was that one trip to Disney that was just not very good. Hey, but at least I didn't have to pay for it. Chaperones got in free. Yep. Rooney. Okay. So I think we're pretty much going to call it for today. It's been kind of a short stream. I mean, I say short, and we've almost been out here for an hour or so. What's our time? 47 minutes so far, according to my clock on there. Like 45 minutes something. So let's just go over the things that we need to do. Our checklist here. So our task list, we got the primer on there. Let me X that out. I've been looking. I'm using OBS on here for streaming to YouTube, which has been really nice. But I've been looking for plugins for just kind of upping my game here. And I know it's going to be a long process, like developing the look of a stream, both for YouTube, live YouTube, and for Twitch. But what I've been looking for, honestly, is like a little task list checker. Something kind of like what I have, right, trying to point to it right here, this little Post-it note thingy, something where I can right items and then like click them and they blink and disappear or cross strike out or something like that. I'm looking for a plugin to do that, but every time I Google search like plugin OBS checklists, it's always like somebody's work log of here's my checklist of things to do in OBS. I can't find it. I can't figure out the proper search terms for it. So that's I'm looking for something like that where I can do a list like this. If you're watching this and you happen to know of something that fits the bill, can you drop that in the comments, please? Because that's something I'm looking for. Yeah, that would be really helpful for these streams because then I can do this because right now this is just a little text bit and I'm just putting X's and stuff and yeah, it's fine, but it works. But I want it to look nice. I want it to look a little nicer. So yeah. All right, what do we have to do next? We gotta paint it. Obviously, I gotta wait for this to dry before I can paint it. As to how I'm going to paint it, that's a grand question. I have some milk paint, which is actually did as part of a video. I have some of this milk paint, which isn't a lot of it, but I can get more of it if I have to. And I can actually tint this. I have some of that unicorn spit stuff. So I can make some pretty colors if I want to. I don't necessarily want to do it like fancy colors though, but I do have black, so I can tint it to like a gray, like a light gray. It's kind of how the inside of my house is anyway. But that would be good because then for videos, I can, if it's sort of a neutral color, I can illuminate it with like some filtered lights and sort of change the color, change the mood a little bit, depending on what I want to do. Or I can do the gamer LED light strips or something ridiculous like that. Sort of change the color and modify that all I want. Actually, that would be pretty cool if I have the workbench come out and a little lip coming down. If I had like some little LED strips around the side, that would be the coolest woodworker bench on the block, wouldn't it? So I'm gonna have to paint it. I'm going to save the trim for last, like I said, when I know a little bit better about how I'm going to do the top. And I can always, what I can do is I can paint the trim, I can attach it with like some just brad nails, and then I can, just repaint over the brad nails. That's not really a big deal. It'll look, fine and professional and good looking. So I'll save the trim for last. That's just, and that's really the trim is just to bulk out these corners to make it look a little more solid. The trim is actually, when I put the trim on the corners here, it's actually going to give the impression that there's like big, solid, beefy legs, like, 4x4 pedestal legs when it's really just solid plywood, which I think would be a really cool effect having that. But then for the tabletop, so I've been doing a lot of thinking about what I want to do with this. I've got a few options. I can go the more expensive route, which would be hardwoods. So something like some hard maple. I'll have to price that out because the thing is, I need to have things 2 1/4 inches thick. And so anything that I multiply, that's going to be like 2 board feet, over 2 board feet, 2.5 board feet, really, by the time I'm done with that. Multiplied by whatever the space is. Actually, we can. This would be a good exercise to figure out. Okay. Let's get do my window capture here. There we go. We don't need that big. Okay. All right, so for the top, so I'm gonna put like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put like some sort of apron around the outside, especially on the ends. That's really like a breadboard almost. That's gonna really help keep these ends from splitting. Because I don't if I do this out of plywood, the top out of plywood, it's not that big a deal. But if I do it out of solid wood and I laminate a bunch of strips together, then that would be. I probably want to make sure these ends stay tied in um, closely together, and so putting a piece on the end would probably be a good idea. So I am probably going to put some sort of skirt around here or apron. I mean, and that's also going to increase the surface area just slightly. I think I did this as 1.5 inches. Okay, so something like that. So calculate some board feet here. So we got 57 inches, 27 inches. Okay. Do a little bit of calculation here. Window capture. Window capture 2. Hey, look at that. Put a calculator up there. Okay, so what do we say? 57 by 27? I can't remember anymore. So 57 inches by 27 inches. 57 by 27. And then it needs to be 2.25 inches thick times 2.25. And then divide all that by 144. And that gives me board feet. So I'm looking at 24 board feet. And then let's just see. See if I can find some lumber prices. I'm looking on Chrome right now, so I don't have that up on the screen. Lumber, domestic lumber, hard maple. Maple. Okay. Okay. Well, they don't have a price for their store, but they have a price for the online order. So let's see. I would need like 8/4. I guess I wouldn't really need because I can rip it. So we're looking at like $7 to $8 a board foot, something like that. Let's just say times 8. So I mean, we've been looking at $200 for a top on here, and I would still have to manufacture it. I'd still have to make the whole thing. Which isn't, I mean, for workbench size, it's actually not that bad. But I still have to buy vices. I still have some other trim to put on here. I'm gonna have 2 vices on here. Those will probably be $300-400 together, or so. Then it starts to get a little bit pricey. And have some other hardware to put on there. Yeah, but I mean, the benefits of using maple, it's going to be solid, and it's going to look really, really nice if I do it that way. I can also another thing I can do is some 3/4 inch plywood, like some nice pre-finished plywood. Spend a little money on that, and then let's see, that would be 3/4 of an inch, and then let's hide this. So we would be coming down 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. Okay. So that would be about the top there, and then underneath would be 1.5 inches. So basically, for the base, what I could do is make I can make that out of like 2x4s, just 2x4 lumber, 1.5 inches. I probably wouldn't get a full 1.5 inches out of the thickness of a 2x4, but if I took a 2x4 and stood it up on end, that's 3.5 inches. So I can split that in half and still, kind of clean up the ends a little. I have a little bit to work with for cleaning that up, and plus it doesn't need to be super, super solid on there. Not solid. What's the word I'm thinking of? Doesn't need to be super clean. And then I have this plywood top. If I got some nice pre-finished plywood, theoretically, I could actually screw down from the top. Since this is just a work surface, I could screw down from the top, and theoretically, I could replace it if it gets beat up. I don't know if I need to worry so much about that, though, because, it is just a workbench. And, yeah. The alternative is I could just not worry about it and make it out of something like, just 2x4s. Just get a whole bunch of 2x4s and then run it through a big planer. But either way I do it, most likely what I'll have... I could stack plywood. The 1.5 inches plus... Oops. 2 1/4, right? So 3/4 inch plus 3/4 inch plus 3/4 inch. I could stack plywood, but usually you don't find plywood that's exactly 3/4 of an inch. So, and plus putting in the vices, depending on what kind of vices I get, that might not be the best option. And then plus I'd be having to basically glue plywood together and making, thicker plywood. I'm not really excited about that prospect. Yeah. Well, either way I do it, I'm probably, especially if I'm going to do any like long laminations or anything like that with long pieces of wood, I'm probably going to have to take that into work because I have a say that I have some bigger equipment there. I've got a large planer, a large joiner, and that's just, as much as I'd like to do all of this project in the garage here, it's going to be a pretty beefy project. Another thing I could do, I don't really want to do it this way, is I could go to one of those cabinet supply stores and those butcher block countertops. Those are in vogue, and they're solid. They're they work. You can order them and cut them down to size and everything because it's just a big block of wood. And those can work. I've seen people do those, but usually those aren't as thick. I want 2 1/4 inch thickness, and these are 1.5 inches, maybe 1 3/4. So that might not work. Although depending on the vices I get, they might not need 2 1/4 inch thicknesses. Because I was thinking of putting a front vise on there, and that would need 2 1/4. But I can also shim that down. So I'm just thinking out loud at this point. So I'll come up with an answer. This is just how I do my process. I agonize over every little option and try and figure out what's the best option going to be. And at some point, I just need to be like, Lauer, chill out. Just pick something. It's just a workbench. So Anyway, all right, guys. I think before I drive myself crazy, coming up with different options, I think we're gonna call it there. We just about hit an hour here, so yeah, that's not so bad. Alrighty, guys. I this is the end of the spring break. I don't know when the next time is. We'll be streaming like this. I will most likely be back to doing my Hey Folks Coffee vlog Monday morning. Most likely, yeah. So I do still like doing that. So you can catch me here doing the morning vlog next week. We'll be back in school, so I won't have hours and hours to work on stuff. Oh, although I could do that, I think. But anyway, guys, I will see you next time. See you when I see you. Hopefully, I'll have another video out early next week. So yeah, look for that. All right. Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday to all of you. And have a good weekend.